Hello, and welcome back to Factorio Space Age. We've just finished putting together our oil refinery, and it is time to start routing the coal to the refinery and the outputs of the refinery back toward the bus, and so on and so forth. Where so on and so forth are not yet decided. Before we get started, I want to make a note that I am not at all comfortable with this mechanism, but we're going to go with it because it seems to be working. Anyway, got rocket fuel. So what do we need to do here? Well, we've got our. I think we just need to swing into making the train station. Now, normally what I wanted to do was have the train station bracketing the power pole. But the way that I put in this guy, he's going to be awkward. So let's start out by setting these up with logistics support with our roboports pointed off to the left so we can sneak the train by below them. Those roboports will eventually go away when I don't want to have logistics support spread out to all my train stations. Okay, next thing is the actual train station. I am going to go to slot 4 here. I'm going to change you to number 5. I'm going to grab all the things I need to build train stations. We do not yet have ramps and supports. So I'm going to put a train stop in there, and we're going to put in rail signals and rail chain signals. I'm going to grab locomotives and cargo wagons. Actually, let's move those over just a little bit. Is there anything else for trains that I need to have on me for this build? I don't think so. Let's go actually get stuff from the base so we can build our train line to go get the coal. So what do we need in our carry around the base? Well, I want 1,000 rails. I'm going to want a stack of train stops. I'm going to need a few signals. There's no point in grabbing less than a stack on these. I'm going to grab a stack of locomotives, a stack of cargo wagons, just to keep things happy. Actually, let's set the locomotives to only asking for 2. There we go. And only 4. There we go. Now, what else? I am likely to need a lot more of this stuff when I put down the mine, but I think I'm going to use the trick of having the robots come in and build our mine for us. So, coal unloading station, somewhere in here. I think I was going to go to the left of this. Hold on. There. Okay. So we want to bring our rail in here. I'm just going to stripe this in by hand, just short of there. I'm going to give you one extra little rail worth of safety margin. Now we're going to want to unload to the north. So let's make some room. So the unloading. I am going to use the calculated unloading. So we're going to go there, and that gets us some power, and that gets us more power. You guys are going to be controlled by a signal that says how much we want in the box, and your boxes need to report their quantities out as well. Actually, I only need to do 2 of these. I'll show you why in a moment. So, the inserter will have access to a red signal, which is how much we want. Well, red signal, which will be the negative of the average of the number of things in the box, and the green signal will be how much is in the box. That was not good. Come on. You to there. Spread you by 1 to be in the next. Oh, that doesn't work. Okay, we'll have to do that. And I think I need to fix these manually. It didn't sound like he was doing much in the way of a repair. There. Get the red wires in and separate you by 1 so you are in the next one over. 2, 3, 4. So there's our 4 cars worth of unloading. We now need to compute our average, negative of the average. So, got to make this generic. For each possible input, divide it by the negative of the number of boxes. So we have 4 cars by 6 boxes, so we divide by negative 24. And we're going to output each. So if every box had 10, we'd output a minus 10. So what this guy would see would be a 0. We're going to enable, we basically, if we were below average or at average, we want to add more. So if everything is less than, say, 3, so if we're even a couple above average, we'll still insert. Then we'll do that. And all of these go. So you're all initially enabled because everybody has 0, which is the average. Okay, next thing is we need to refuel. Okay, so for here, I'm going to be, I have a fuel line coming in, and this is going to be, first of all, filtered. I am going to bring in a rocket fuel for these trains. Okay? I am going to then wire control when I put it in, and I'm going to enable if there is rocket fuel in the box that is less than 100. So that's 5 stacks of rocket fuel we'll put in. And the same thing for the engine and back. Okay, let's put in the engine so we can see what's going on here. There's the engine. We'll need to put in the cars so we get the spacing right. Like that. So, rocket fuel. Where does the rocket fuel come from? It comes from right here. Let's go get our rocket fuel. We're going to come in here, and I'm going to put this guy down just like that. So now we are supplying rocket fuel to our train station down south, and we are sending it north where it will eventually go on the main bus, where it will be used to make rockets. And we may have more stations going to the south here, so we'll just put that like that. Now this station, while we're setting that up, I am going to, whoops. I'm going to hold down Control Shift and move ourselves to the left all the way out here. We need to go out further. Let's bring it out to here-ish somewhere. That's good enough. So the robots will be busy making those while we're getting going here. I should have done that before I started setting up anything here. Now you are named, well, you're a drop station, but you're not an oil drop station. You are a coal drop station. And I'm going to put a space in front of my drop stations from now on. In fact, in front of all of my stations. Let's fix that. Stations. So I'm going to put a space in there. Now I'm going to hold control, so if there were any other stops with this name, it would rename them as well. This is kind of a habit to get into if I'm changing the name of all of my drop stations to do that. Because someday I would do it and it just would not work right. And take, again, we're going to go to the station. I put a space in and I control there. Now, sometimes, well, later on when we start getting smart, there'll be interrupts that will have station names that look like it's a smart drop. I'm going to build the smart drop station here. So if my condition is item count in cargo. So if in cargo we have an item, any item, count greater than 0, then our target station is that item parameter space drop. Yes, you can do that. And when we get there, we are going to wait until item count of that item is equal to 0. And we've been inactive for 5 seconds. So at any time, a station that has this interrupt set up will say, if I've got something of that item, okay, if I got something of that item, go to that interrupt. In fact, let's do that for our coal train right now. I think I can remove that. I hope that didn't get rid of it. Add interrupt. Oh, it did. So you have to have, so if you have an interrupt that nobody's using, it completely goes away. Well, we can do this again. Item count. It's good practice. So item, for any item that is greater than 0, if it's greater than 0, add station. It is the item. We also have fuel and fluid and signals. So item parameter drop. Have to wait condition. This is just in case we have multiple items. So we go to the right stations to drop each item. So there's smart drop item. Save interrupt. Okay. Now, because I'm doing that, why don't I go ahead and set up the fluid train. I will add an interrupt. But I'm not going to actually use smart drop item. I'm going to use smart drop fluid. I think I can just change the interrupt like that. When we go to the other train, he still has his old one set up. Nope. So you can't do that. Okay. Smart drop item. We have to separately code each one. I cannot copy and interrupt properly. Darn it. Okay. Oh, and you also, you need to get a name. You are called Coal. So now if I go to train groups, we now have a coal group and an oil group. So the oil group now, we need to add interrupt called smart drop fluid. Interrupt condition is fluid count fluid parameter greater than 0. Interrupt station is fluid parameter drop. Just like that. Save interrupt. And now I can get rid of the drop here. Well, it's going to go here anyway. Oh, I forgot. We're going to go inactivity and fluid count of fluid parameter is equal to 0. So we did send him back to refill early, but he's filled up now. Now I don't need to have both of these interrupts set for him because he has no solid. But if I do this, this means if I add a train to this group that has, that has some solid, if he picks up stuff, he'll go wherever he needs to go to drop it. Kind of like that. But we're not parameterizing where we're getting things from. Okay, back to groups, back to coal. And I'm going to go ahead and put smart drop fluid in here as well. So all my trains are going to have smart drops for both of those, just in case, add a train that has fuel tanks, fluid tanks and cargo. What I'll do is the train group will specify where we're picking things up, and we don't currently have a coal pickup, so we're not ready to go yet. So I did the wrong thing here. Yeah, I did actually exactly the wrong thing here. So, these need to be on the unloading side, not the loading side, because we're just going to load with whatever we get from the train. It's the unloading that needs to be even. Okay? And we need to unload if everything is greater than -3. For some reason, I got in the mode where I was building an unloading station, a loading station instead of an unloading station. Okay. So when we roll up here, we will just do that. We do, however, want to set the filter to coal. Okay. And these guys also need to be set, use filters, coal. Like that. Now we can grab all of this with Control X to get rid of the working area and put that back down there. So these inserters will now do their best to assure that we... oh, come on. Assure that we unload from the boxes, keeping the boxes level. I'm going to instantiate that from my inventory because I am tired of waiting for the bots on this one. So now it's up to us to make sure that whatever the load is, so These are all going to get compressed into outputting to, well, fewer than 8 independent lanes, I'll put it that way. But we do need to balance it across all of these guys so the load can come from any of them. The way I do that is I start off by doing this. So these 3 guys are going to go on the right-hand side of this belt. This will always output forward and on the right. Boom, right there. So 3 on the right, 3 on the left. Let's do that and that and that. Now I want to bring that out like that. I want to do it one further and one further and one further. Okay. That gets us 4 lanes, 4 belts. We have lane balanced, so anything drawn from either side of this belt can get from any of those 6, which is what we want. Next step is to make sure that when we go from 4 down to 2, any output comes from any input. And this is actually enough to do that. Output priority right and deconstruction planner. So we mark that as, yes, I know this isn't being used. It's on purpose. We're going to send this on through here. Now, we need an entire line of plastic, an entire line of coal going to our plastic area. So I am going to prioritize going to plastic. Oops. Keep messing up by not using my mapping, running over stuff. So here, this line is coal. This line is high priority coal. And once I have pulled the high priority coal off, I only have 1 line of coal left. I'm going to prioritize to the right. So that will send the coal to plastic. We'll get back 2 lines of plastic. We have half a line of sulfur down here. We already have our fuel going up that way. Yeah, let's do it up like this. And we are going to have iron eventually coming down on that line. Okay, so there's our unloader. Let's filter this so that if we happen to rock up the wrong station, we won't be picking up the wrong kind of inventory. Now, if we had a full set of train stations here, whatever we picked up, we could go somewhere and drop. And we could even have a rule that says, you know, if you've got stuff you can't drop anywhere else, maybe there's a station somewhere that just takes it all and puts it all into the logistics network. That's the kind of station you have when you're not sure your trains are going the right place at the right time. I think we're good. This station is called Coal Drop. We're set up to automatically go to coal drop on an interrupt basis if we have coal. If we have anything else, the train's going to go, yeah, I don't know. It's going to complain at us. Okay, we have an intersection. Geez, I stopped slow. So, the way I choose to do this is I put in chain signals at all of the points where I want to separate blocks. Okay? So we've got that. And now we set up non-chain signals where the block you are entering is big enough to hold an entire train. And it's okay for you to stop in that block. So if it's not okay to stop in the block, for instance, it's a two-way and you want to be able to go into the block after that, then we would have a chain signal. So you got to be able to stop in it, and it's got to be big enough to hold the entire train. In this case, this is our only signals at all anywhere in the system, so that's okay. And you got rocket fuel, good. There. I am going to have my robots do a little bit of site prep. I need to step away for a moment. So we're just going to clear you guys out like that, and I will be right... Okay, we're back. And I realized that I didn't get Roboport coverage down there. It's okay, let's ask for some Roboport coverage real quick. I'm going to align my Roboports as I did above, just so they don't look funky. I just realized I may have overwritten the radar over there. In fact, not just may, I know I did. So there, 1, 2, 3, 4. I think it was this guy. Yeah. There. So while the robots are populating those and doing the site prep I asked for earlier, in fact, I'm going to extend that site prep down to this entire area. It's time to put in our unloading station, or excuse me, our loading station. You are called not coal drop, but coal take. And your only schedule item is going to be go to coal take, wait for full cargo and inactivity. So we don't have any fuel on this end, so we're just going to swing right in with the loading. We need boxes, and we want to balance on the way into the boxes. So we need box quantities coming in and coming across like that, and box quantities coming down like that. Stretching that out one so it's the next guy over. And we can just drop all these things in. So let's include that. Just like that. So what is the logic on these guys? Well, we'll start off with him, as before. We're going to take in the total quantity from the inventory and divide it by the negative of the number of boxes. Oops. And you output there. Let's make sure I got that right on the other end. Yep. Now, if I look at the guy, we're going to basically want to reverse the condition of this guy. Your condition was everything greater than -3, so we're going to say everything less than 3. So if you have less than 3 more than the average, we're adding more. Perfect. And the other one is just a normal set the filter. Okay. So now we need to bring coal into these guys. The easy way is to do this. So the coal comes in, gets split, and goes into all of them. And how we bring the coal up to this is going to depend on how it lays out down below. So time to put our coal mine in place. In order to get the mines on here, I'm going to need to tick up you and you. I think you. Minor units. Doesn't really matter where they end up. We've got some little tags off the end either way here. I'm going to put you here. Let's bring it off to the left. Why not? If I bring it off to the left, and I start with you like here. I'm going to do snap to grid absolute. Get myself out of the way, and we start painting this in. Okay, there we go. And we have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 belts. Easy way to deal with 9 is take one of them, reverse it, and send it around. So I'm going to do that with the bottom one. We turn you around and go in like that. That was not what I wanted. I think I held down too many buttons. Okay. So this should all eventually get filled in. I'm going to go ahead and leave all this extra fancy built stuff out here. And we need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Just confirming. What I want to do is merge 4 of them and 4 of them, and then do the 4 to 4 merge that we did up here. So it's going to look just like this, with the exception that my output goes the other direction. So we're going to rotate it, flip it horizontally, and bring it up just like that. There we go. Perfect. And this goes up and makes the turn and feeds into our station. We have a turn here we can grab and rotate into place. There we go. We have now blueprinted all of the stuff for the coal station. I'm going to go stand here in the middle somewhere and accelerate time and wait for this to finish while you wait behind the curtain because it's going to be boring. I will see you in a few. I think we've got it. There we go. So we are, in fact, moving the coal, and it's loading up our little coal train here. Can I get there before it's done loading? Maybe. So this is incorrect. This needs to be full cargo, not fully fueled. Interesting. I didn't notice that I'd put that in wrong. But if I had a dozen trains in this group, it would fix it for all of them. So that was the weakness before this version, was that if I made a train with the perfect schedule and copied it around, and then there was an error in the schedule, you had to go update all of the trains. So we are carrying 8,000 coal. And we have an interrupt sent us to the coal drop station. I can get off here and look at the coal as it comes out. Whee! If I've done this right, coal should head up here. Hey, why don't we get any sulfur out? Ooh. Ooh. Well, this is wrong. Greater than or equal to. That's why we test. And I failed to test earlier. Anyway, so we now have coal coming in. So this does 0.8. 0.8 is 24. 1.6. So if I add another 3 of these, let's add another 4. This will go from slightly under to slightly over. Oh, never mind. We've got this stuff in the middle here. I would need to add a couple on each end. Well, I could do that. What if I grab all of this and move it down to here? And then grab. These are in groups of 3. That's right. So I need to bring it one more. So we're actually going to have more machines than we need. That's all right. So let's grab those 3. I'm going to grab all. I'm going to grab up through there. So we're overlapped by 2. Grab these guys, overlapped by 2. Okay, so I did something wrong somewhere. And these are no longer doing anything. Let's see. So you don't have your signal coming in. Okay. Your signal is here. Oh. Did we run ourselves completely out of... Oh, look at this. We are completely out of petroleum. So we are not cracking. Let's fix this first. Where are you connected to? Should be here. How did we use up all of our petroleum so quick? Why aren't we cracking? You have 25 to 24. You're out. You are filled on light. You are filled on petroleum here. Oh. So same mistake we made on the other end. Our cracking was not hooked up. There we go. And you don't see signal because I didn't hook you up properly. Okay. So now if I look at this, this says that we can now consume 1.2 belts of coal, producing 2.4 belts of plastic, and this is in the middle. I think this is the... I probably could have made it a little bit smaller, but I wanted to do it in groups of 3, so that's what we get. So you are going to make this turn. You're going to be right there. That's good enough. 2 lines of plastic coming north. Need to work out how to get this onto the bus in the appropriate way. The sulfur is coming through here. Okay, what do our quantities look like? So we are chewing through the petroleum, making plastic out of it. Check. We are maintaining high stocks of lubricant and acid. And we are bumping up against the cracking limits on heavy and light oil. That is perfect. This is actually the balance we want to cut. Now, of these guys, so we're not turning petroleum into solid fuel. This is good, because I would rather turn the light oil in If we're going to be cracking light oil, I would rather be making solid fuel from it than making solid fuel from the petroleum that it cracks into. So we're cracking this as fast as we can. Not cracking, we're making this. And of course, our rocket fuel is only being made as necessary to get up to here. So this is iron, and this is sulfur, and the rest of it is as shown. So one of the plastic lines needs to go all the way up to here. It just needs to be north in here somewhere. I can bring it down. Let's bring it over here. There's plastic. Now I'm going to speed up time, get the plastic in. I want to see red chips being made now. There we go. And with red and green chips, I should also see blue chips being made. Ah, you do not have sulfuric acid. Okay. So we need to get sulfuric acid and lubricant up here. Those are our next exports. So this is the sulfuric acid from the left station. I'm going to move this pump over here. This sulfuric acid is coming from here, and it comes all the way down and around and into here. I'm going to instead bring it south. It's going to come here. How about I go into map mode for this? Thank you. Actually, let's get this intersection set up properly in normal mode. You need to come to the right here somewhere. How about here? Okay, now with that in mind, sulfuric acid needs to come out to the left, really. In fact, both of these guys need to come out to the left, not to the right. Well, that's convenient because that means I don't have to worry about having these on my bus. Okay, but it's not convenient here, is it? Is it? Pain in the butt, what it is. Okay, we've got it here. This is all hooked up. What I'm going to do is I'm going to bring it south somewhere. And I need to bring this south somewhere. So these would be the natural places to put them. There. Okay. Now you guys need to turn left. And I am out of undergrounds. Interesting. That's okay. They will bring me more. There's sulfuric acid. In fact, I can pretend this was all planned by putting the pump in here. And a similar pump in here. Well, that's unfortunate. Where did we get out of step here? Okay. Those two need to continue north. So I'm going to grab this much of it. I'm going to say snap to grid absolute. And now we can just Control Shift and draw this all the way up here. Now, this is going to be too long, so I need to pick an adequate place to put these. I'm going to put them right here. Power. There we go. And that brings us all the way up here. I'm going to make this my first pumping station. And it's going to be a minor one because I don't have great quantities. 1,200 per second is more than fast enough for these guys. Well, if I put it in over here, that'll be even better. Okay, these are going to be too long. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull that, and nominally it's 320, which is 32 times 10. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to go 5 of them and stop. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So by keeping these shorter, it admits that I may draw them significantly off of the line. And let's see, can I do one last iteration here? Does it fit? Nope. Okay, I'll leave it alone. So we now have lubricant and sulfuric acid on the bus. Still running at X4 speed. Normally you keep running slowly until you have better armor, which is really one of the main motivations for getting better armor. And I am kind of cheating us out of that experience at the moment. Both of these are sulfuric acid. So we're now getting blue chips out. Yay! So in a normal playthrough, I would now be routing green chips, red chips, and blue chips back into the logistics area so I could request them in so I could make things. In this case, I could do that so I could request them in so I can drop them in the micro factory. Good idea? I don't know whether it's a good idea or not, but I'm going to do it. So we're going to get out the fancy boxes. We're going to go with the stock capture. And I'm going to put them down here where we're going onto the bus. In fact, I'm going to put it on these guys. So this is green. And this is going to be red. This is going to be blue. And I'm going to have to bring power down to these guys. Produce 1K processing units per hour. So because I was on X4, I got that 1K done really fast. And because I talked about it, I'm going to go ahead and request in a couple stacks of each one of these. So we'll request in 2 stacks of each kind of circuit. Produce 10K advanced circuits. So those ratcheted up really fast because I had a big build out. I went from a tiny build to a big build. So we cranked up some of the rate stuff in a real hurry. Number of alerts is down because some of my pipes are no longer marked with red dashes. Acceptable. I think that's it for this one. So this was, gosh, how much did I do here? I did the main petroleum before. So this was really imports and exports, oil imports and exports. Yeah, oil imports and exports up through getting the Chip Fab running. I will see you in the next recording.